Hey guys, it's TomBox here. Welcome to MST.TV, and danger is the name of this video. We want to learn how to counter the danger because what Yu-Gi-Oh players love doing the most is when someone drops $300 to $400 on a new deck, the first thing we want to do is beat it with, well, a lot less money so that they can feel bad that they wasted money on a crappy deck. Well, the thing is, the deck we already know is very strong based on a lot of the online videos, and plays around hand traps, builds big boards, OTKs you out of nowhere, and, well, gets free draws half of the time. So we want to take care of this, put it in its place, down in the ground. Okay, clearly it's up there. We already know it's a really strong deck, but let's talk about how to counter it. I know this is not the most meta-defining counter right now because, for one thing, the deck has not even been out in competitive play for more than a week when I made this video. So this is just the initial phase. I'll probably do another video later on with more meta counters coming from, well, I guess experience. But for now, these are some of the things I've experienced when I played against the deck, some things when I was playing the deck that really kind of made me feel very annoyed, and a really silly thing that I kind of lost to. And so for these these counters, I will explain whether or not you want to use this going first or second, or whether it's okay for both, and then why I didn't choose some of these cards as well. There's some cards that are pretty obvious that I would put in there if I knew that it was a simple deck, but sadly the deck is not that simple, and depending on the variant. Anyways, lots of explanations. Long story short, this is going to be a side deck series against countering the danger. Now, before I get to this video, I just want to give a huge shout out to my Patron. You guys allow me to do what I do right now, and well, this is my latest piece of equipment. I use this to film my food porn video, and this was amazing. This camera is one of the best things that's happened to me, so thank you guys so much, and I'll improve my video, keep on improving, and I'll share with you guys tech tips on my other channel, TomBox.TV. Speaking of TomBox.TV, that food video, if you guys love ribs and you want to feel hungry after this one, go check that one out. Appreciate you guys for checking it out too. And let's get started. Number 1, Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave is amazing against the danger deck. Since the deck does rely on the graveyard, there are certain cards that I would recommend hitting against them. Grapha being one of them, especially when Grapha is activating to pop one of your stuff. You can chain Call by the Grave, get rid of that Grapha. No more Grapha issue for now. You got rid of a copy of Grapha, so you don't have to deal with the summon. So it's like 2 birds with 1 stone right there. Hitting a Nessie also feels very good. And whenever you hit one of these dudes, or these danger monsters, you can make sure that they won't be able to activate anymore from hand, because it turns off the hand effect as well. So that also works out in your favor. And on top of that, you can also use that to stop a Bigfoot from popping one of your face-up cards. So Call by the Grave definitely had a lot of impact over the many games I've played with the danger deck. And I really hate it when they take away my Nessie, because you really don't want Nessie to come out from like a Chupacabra plus, like, I guess, a Jackalope, because if that happens, they're going to go into Tomahawk, and there comes a very big line of link plays thanks to the 5 tokens coming from that the Tomahawk. Yeah, so Call by the Grave, really good card going first, even pretty good going second in my opinion. Number 2, Torrential Tribute. Now, Torrential Tribute, I think, is a pretty simple card. You just use it to stop them from setting up. Now, one thing to note about the setup of a danger deck, it's hard to prevent. There's not exactly hand traps that you can use to prevent them from jumping onto the board. Drone Lockbird's pretty good, but aside from Drone Lockbird, what else do you actually have? You can't Ash this deck. The summon effect or the reveal effect is not once per turn, so they'll just keep going, and once they keep going, your Ash is burnt out. Usually Ash needs to be paired with something else for it to be even remotely useful. It's very difficult to use Ash against this deck. Even Ogre, most of these monsters on the field don't have effects. They're just big beater. It's just their discard effect is really useful. So you gotta change it up. You gotta change up in there. That's why Call by the Grave is so good. For Torrential, you want it so that when your opponent commits to 2 monster or more, that's when you flip it. If it's like 2 level 8s, you don't want them to go into Hope Harbinger, you blow it up. If you don't want them to go into Tomahawk, you blow it up, because you got to make sure that your opponent can't actually recover. I'm not sure if people are going to play Draco Sack. It'd be kind of funny if they do play your Draco Sack, but like, you can also stop them from going to rank 8s, going to Mass Links. That's all you got to stop. You just don't want them to get to like a point where it's Cerberus and whatever co-link is on the field, and then you're like, oh, I'm screwed. Yeah, so Torrential, it's pretty good. It hurt me quite a bit a few times when I did not expect it, or when the guy actually had 3. Yeah, it sucked. Number 3, Abyss Dweller. Dweller's alright, especially if you have the space to put him in your extra deck, because if you have Dweller by herself is kind of meh. It's not exactly the most ideal card. It only shuts off all the graveyard effect. However, due to the fact that there are tons of graveyard effect, your opponent is actually kind of losing half their plays when it comes to this. Whenever they're paying a cost, whenever they're discarding a card that's not the danger card, they're not gaining an additional plus from the ditch. So if you have like a Snow that they ditch and they're about to get like a Grapha that they ditch, this is like limiting them down from the utility of breaking your board, which is why Abyss Dweller is quite useful. I get that Abyss Dweller can easily get run over, like, oh, summon Bigfoot, crap, I'll just run you over. But your opponent cannot break the board as easy, especially with their own cards. They can't use the Grapha, they can't use the Bigfoot, so they're very limited in terms of their board breaking. Therefore, they have to rely on like Twin Twisters. But if you have a monster that they can't deal with, then this is a pretty good card to actually have on the side with your current board. Number 4, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. I guess this is a dark deck, so I might as well put that in there. And it's a dark deck that does use the graveyard, so it's like having multiple soul drains against the deck. And this card is particularly good when it comes to stopping your opponent from breaking your boards, because you're not going to stop them from summoning stuff, because the hand effects are all still live. They can still activate, jump, get the draw. That's fine. But the hard part is dealing with stuff in the graveyard. If you actually have Shadow Imprisoning Mirror face up on the field, when my opponent had this against me, I was like, oh, whatever, I can still summon Grapha. But then I had to eat a lot of the back row, and since I didn't main Twin Twister, it was an uphill battle, and ultimately one that I have lost thanks to that Shadow Mirror. It turned off my Grapha from popping anything, turned off my Bigfoot from popping stuff, turned off Nessie from searching. Just a lot of effects are basically ruined thanks to this card. It will throw away a lot of your pluses that you can gain from your discards. So that's why Shadow Mirror is really good. So number 5, Rivalry of Warlords. This card can be going first or second. It will be good in either one because it gets you that board wipe. And it also prevents your opponent from actually making and advancing their own game state. Since the deck is made up of beasts, we have fiends, we have, what's that sea creature, I guess a sea serpent. I'm not even sure what it is. You got a ton of different types, and that makes it very difficult for them to run around. And you can't really go into a machine. You limit their extra deck options. It's just a complete mess. And Dark World stuff, they're all fiends. It doesn't mix and match really well in there. So they'll need some form of, I guess, back row removal to take care of this card ASAP, because it's going to stun them in the long run. And if you go second, you can set this card and then you just flip it on them when they're making their board or expanding their board, so they commit resources only for them to lose out their pluses. So Rivalry of Warlords, it's surprisingly good. Number 6, finally going to the going second cards, we have Drone Lockbird. Drone Lockbird is quite the annoying hand trap because it is one of the more effective hand traps to turn off the drawing effect coming from their summon effect. So yes, they can't replenish resources, and therefore their turns are cut short because they don't get to replenish the additional cards and keep pushing and keep extending the combo to the point where they can go to a point with no return where they can secure victory. That's the part you get to stop them with Drone Lockbird. I mean, Drone Lockbird doesn't exactly stop too much, but after that one draw, you can be like, toss. And now you have to play limited resources. And if they don't commit, then they have a weaker board. If they do commit, they have no hand after you break them. So that's why Drone Lockbird is amazing. Number 7, DeeDee Crow, serving a very similar purpose to Call by the Grave, except that you can use it when you're stuck going second. And if you're stuck going second with this card, you can use it to remove priority cards like Grapha, maybe like the revival target of Chupacabra. Bear in mind that it is hard to stop them when you are going second because there's not too many effective hand traps. So if you side this card in to replace like Ash Blossom or something, which is still not too ideal. Although Ash Blossom isn't the best card against the deck, Ash Blossoms can still stop that trap card. DeeDee Crow can't. But DeeDee Crow can get rid of that Grapha, can get rid of that Bigfoot that's going to be revived. Overall, there's just applications for this card in this particular matchup. Number 8, evenly matched for going second. It's an obvious choice. It is a board wipe that banishes everything, and you love banishing these guys because you don't want them to be able to revive, recur. Banishing is the best way to go, especially when you can banish face down. I think it was an obvious pick because the deck can build a big board. You can break the big board with this. Number 9, Mind Control. I don't think I'm deviating too far from some of the standard side decks that we currently have. And Mind Control is one of the most powerful side deck cards you can play, and it can definitely benefit you, especially when they have link monsters on the field where you can just take it and then you can skip up to a bigger link. Overall, just amazing in general, but be aware that the deck can make Hope Harbinger. If you're going to use this card to bait Hope Harbinger and then perhaps use a Regeki or Dark Hole to wipe the rest of it, good on you, because it's going to be a bit more difficult to actually activate spell cards. And number 10, Obelisk the Tormentor. Well, I'm only mentioning this guy because I did lose to it 2 rounds in a row. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest, but I could not out it. I could not deal 1200 damage to my opponent just to take the game off of the hand, but damn, Obelisk is big and he can't be targeted. So my out was Warlord, and my opponent knew that my out was Warlord, so when I saw him Warlord, it got strike down. And then that was basically the end of it because I cannot clear it. I don't run my Geki. I just had to eat, I guess, the Fist of Fate to the face. So yeah, Obelisk, or more specifically, monsters that cannot be targeted that are bigger than 3,000. Those are going to be a major issue if you cannot get into the Warlord or if you do not side in stuff like Regeki to deal with them. It is very, very painful. It was a grind. At first I was like, oh, I got this. But then 2 seconds later, he summons out Obelisk and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Oh, my monsters are dying one at. Now, I know some of you guys are like, oh, where's the Mind Drain? Where's the Soul Drain? Well, for the Soul Drain, you can run it if you want to. You want to shut down the effects. It's very much like a Abyss Dweller. But note that it's not going to stop your opponent from summoning onto the field and beating you down, even though you have a floodgate there. So that's why I didn't really suggest it. It needs to be paired off with something else that turns it off, which is Mind Drain plus Soul Drain together. It might be like the ideal combo, but it needs to be in a package deal. It can't just be a standalone, because these monsters, they have effects from hand and they also have effects in the graveyard that you want to probably stop, or else you can't protect your own board. So what else do you guys think are really good counters against Danger? I mean, they haven't been out yet, but if they are going to be out and they're going to be dominating, we should learn how to counter them early rather than later. So, you know, it's a more challenging, more fun game for everyone. But leave it down in the description below. These are just my current suggestions. I like some of them more than others for sure. But, well, it depends on people's budgets, right, guys? Aside from that, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit me up with a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, well, hit the subscribe button. We got some deck profiles, we got some duels, we got tons of things going on. Check that out, and also check out MST.TV, my other channel that I'm trying to do more vlogging on and talk about just a lot of interesting things that socially we should probably talk about. But aside from that, thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.